Hello friends, welcome to my channel and today we are going to learn about Angular prerequisites. Hope after watching this video you would be able to understand and think about the Angular in a very different way. So here when I talk about Angular prerequisites, these are all things you would require while learning and while writing your code in Angular, right? So when I talk about Angular, so here I'm talking about Angular as the version after Angular 2, and we are not going to talk about AngularJS in this video. So if you are searching for AngularJS, I have mentioned a prerequisite for AngularJS in my description. So go over there, check it out, and enjoy. Now here we are going to talk about Angular only. So let's go ahead. So I have prepared a very good list of Angular prerequisites and let's see what they are. So first of all, you would require HTML, CSS and JavaScript. So if you don't know HTML, CSS and JavaScript, I would suggest that you just have a little bit of a knowledge of all three of them. So here HTML would be a little bit more, HTML and JavaScript would be a little bit more. So you need to know a pretty good deal of both of them. But for CSS, I would suggest don't bother. CSS is like a kind of manageable. You must know what it is, but not you don't need to be a pro over here because you can always use Bootstrap for that. Okay, so for the next thing, you would be requiring a Node.js. So here you require Node.js version 10.9 or later. I will be providing a link to install how to install Node.js in my description. So you need not to worry about how to install Node.js. Then you require Angular CLI NPM package. So what Node provides is Node provide a Node packaging manager, that is NPM, and through NPM you install Angular CLI. So what Angular CLI does is it helps you generate a basic level of coding that you require for your project to have. So here when we talk about Angular, it's a framework. It provides a certain bit of coding on its own. So you can focus on your business logic. Right. So for that, the Angular CLI is what you need. Then you require a little bit knowledge of TypeScript. So TypeScript is required because whole Angular is written in TypeScript. So whatever you are going to code is going to be in TypeScript. So here when I say TypeScript, TypeScript has been derived from JavaScript. So you can write JavaScript also, but it's always better to go along with the framework. So it would be very good that you would be knowing these two factors also, observer design pattern and RxJS. But it's okay if you don't know them. You can always learn later. So observer design patterns is, why do you need this is because there is one library which is used all across the Angular framework, that is RxJS, that I have mentioned the second point, right? So you need not know it while starting it, but it is important because all the services and every aspect of callbacks and whatever star factors just this Angular has been managed by RxJS. The callbacks, the timer, and everything is managed by RxJS. So RxJS is based on the concept of observer design pattern, right? So if you want to go in a very depth of Angular, So you need to understand the RxJS, and if you are diving into RxJS, so you need to know about observer design pattern as well, right? So these two things are optional for now to start it, but if you once you're very comfortable with Angular, you can go right into it. That what is RxJS, what is observer design patterns, right? So let's go ahead and see. So for node installation, you can go to this link, right? So you can download the package, install it. You can have a proper installation wizard over there, and then check the node version, check the npm version. It should be the latest. So uh, once we are done with node installation, let's go ahead for Angular CLI installation. So for Angular CLI installation, you need to put this command for with npm. You need to install Angular CLI, and once this command is run, so you can check your Angular version with this command ng hyphen hyphen version. So it will show you which version of Angular is currently installed on your system. Okay, so going forward, let's see what TypeScript is. Then why do we use TypeScript? Then what problem does it solve? And at the end, how to learn TypeScript. Right, so these are the four questions which you would be having, that why Angular is written in TypeScript. Right, so first of all, go for the first question. Let's go for the first question. What is TypeScript? So TypeScript is basically a JavaScript with which is strongly typed. So JavaScript is loosely typed, that if you declare a variable and put any kind of data in it, so the variable becomes of that type. You need not declare any type for that variable. But in TypeScript, if you declare a type for a variable, so it accepts only that kind of variable, uh, that kind of data in that variable. So if you declare a variable as string type, so it will accept only string and not number values. So if I talk about that thing, uh, talk about this feature of TypeScript, then it solves the problem of runtime errors. So what happens in JavaScript is that we coders and every person who writes a code in JavaScript or in general are humans. We have a tendency of making mistakes. So if some different value comes at runtime in the variable, so in JavaScript it is not noted. Okay, but in TypeScript, this thing, this loose end is identified at the time of coding itself. So before the code goes for production, before it goes for testing, the error is there. Error is shown as a compile time error to be solved. Yes, so this is a problem that TypeScript solves. Now, how do we learn TypeScript? So, TypeScript is not difficult language to learn. It's very simple. It's almost like JavaScript. It just involves typecasting variables. So here is TypeScript. People have demonstrated a 5-minute tutorial. So how you can learn TypeScript? It is very simple. It denotes how you typecast a variable, then what are classes, what are interfaces. It requires a compiler also. So how to install that and everything is over here. You can actually learn TypeScript in 5 minutes. Yeah, so that is my review over learning TypeScript. It's very simple. You can learn it with this 5 minutes tutorial. This link of 5 minute learning TypeScript in 5 minutes, I will be putting into my description. So do check over there, and let's go ahead. Yeah, so I have talked about observer design pattern earlier, right? So let me give you a brief overview of what it is and how does it helps Angular in it. So observer design pattern is something which is let's suppose there is a newspaper which is continuously publishing its papers and so we are few people who want to subscribe to these newspaper. So when newspaper uh, publishes its news, so it is continuously doing it day after day. Newspaper is published every day. There is a newspaper, let's suppose it's a Guardian or a Times of India. It releases newspaper every day, right? Its work is to release it. Now it's our choice that if we want that newspaper or not. So what we do is we subscribe to that newspaper, and we daily get that newspaper at our doorstep whenever we want, and it we will be getting that newspaper till we unsubscribe it, right? So this is the idea behind the observer design pattern, that there would be a subject which will be publishing its events, and there will be certain people or certain components which will be interested in that event, right? So they would be subscribing to that subject and receiving the events. So that this is the only behavior, this is the behavior which is used on a large scale for Angular. And hope this has helped you to get a little bit understanding of observer design pattern. You can have this design pattern uh, in whichever language that you want. It's just the idea of it, and this idea has been implemented in RxJS, which is used on a wider range on Angular. Yeah. So let's end this, and this is all you will require with Angular to start with, and let's hope you now have a very good understanding of where to start your Angular with, and I hope you have learned a lot with this video. So if you have liked this video, please put a thumbs up, and subscribe to this channel for more videos about the same topic. And if you want certain topics to be explained a little more, please do comment over here. Okay, thank you so much.